ago, we're going to talk about Audit of Inventories. So, ano ba itong pagdating dito sa Audit of Inventories? No? So, tignan muna natin yung objectives bago tayo tumuloy sa mga procedures. So, one of the objectives of Audit Inventories is to determine that inventories included in the statement of financial position physically exist. Kumbaga, ano siya, yung siya, yung meron siya talagang, naandun talaga siya, hindi lang basta siya yung sinasabi na parang bogus. It really exists, hindi lang sa records. Inventories represents items held for sale in the ordinary course of business. In the process, production for such sale, or in the form of materials or supplies to be used in the production process or in the rendering of services. Ayan. Kasi ang inventory, for all we know, ito yung binibenta. Okay, so dito, so pagka nabenta na to, then pwede siya maging receivables. Then from the receivables, yung collection, saka natin, ito yung cash, no? Ito yung tinatawag na yung bang operating cycle. So, from cash to inventory to accounts receivable, and then, of course, siyempre, bago mag-accounts receivable, sales muna, tapos accounts receivable, and then back again to cash. So, kailangan ma-determine natin meron tayong knowledge about yung cycle na to. And then yung process of production, whether it's material, raw materials pa siya, and then work in process, kasama na to sa inventory, no? And yung finished goods. Inventory quantities include products, materials, and supplies owned by the company on hand, in transit, or stored outside location. So we need to understand yung possession nitong inventory na to, no? Kasi when you say on hand, nasa premises ng company. In transit, paparating pa lang doon sa customer. No? So, depende yan kung ano yung, let's say, terms ng shipment, whether it's FOB shipping point or FOB destination. So, malalaman natin kung kanino yung title. No? So, we're going to test the assertion of yung rights and obligation, kung sino pa yung may-ari nito. No? Kasi kung sa company pa yon, then kasama pa dapat yun dun sa kanyang inventory. Assuming that it is in transit, no? Or stored outside locations. Ito yung mga tinatawag na yung mga consignment, no? Halimbawa, meron tayong pa-consignment, let's say, if we're the company, meron tayong pa-consignment, let's say, sa SM, no? Meron tayo doon, so doon binibenta. Now, of course, pagka hindi pa nabenta yun, inventory pa natin yun, no? Now, once na nabenta na yun, then that is already part of the cost of goods sold. The next one is yung legal title or similar rights of ownership to the inventoriable. So this is the account balance assertions on rights and obligations. So sino ba yung ano ba yung ownership, no? Sino ba yung may-ari ng inventory na yan? So in the case of, let's say, yung consignor tsaka yung consignee, no, yung consignee sila lang yung pinaglalagakan nung goods, no? Pero yung consignor, siya yung nagpapa-consign doon sa inventory niya, no? Therefore, siya yung may-ari. Okay, and then inventories are properly stated at the lower of cost and net realizable value. So when we talk about yung lower of cost and net realizable value, alam nyo kasi dito sa accounting, no, when you talk about account balances, ang mahalaga doon, ang isa sa mahalaga doon is yung bang valuation ng isang account, no? Of course, we don't want it to, kumbaga, overstated, no? Baka mamaya obsolete na yung part of that inventory. So we want to distinguish na, no? Kumbaga, ito yung bang accuracy, no? So this is one of the transactions, yung bang assertion, audit assertion. So, and then inventories are properly described. Hindi ko makita to. So, and classified in the financial statement, and disclosures are adequate. Yan. So, kinakailangan makita yan, no, dun sa financial statement. So, this represents yung disclosure assertions, no? Okay, kasi baka mamaya siyempre merong mga naka-earmark yan sa ibang, let's say, sa another party. So we need to also um, know that, no, if we're one of the users of the financial statements, no? Okay, now let's talk about the audit procedures. Ano yung mga procedures na nangyayari dito sa pag-audit ng inventory? So one of them is yung itong observe physical inventory count. So yeah, so yung ano kasi yung pagka you as an auditor, no, pagka ikaw mismo yung nakakaranas kung yung bang pagbibilang ng inventaryo, no, mas ano sa'yo, kumbaga mas persuasive yun kaysa sa yung sinasabi ng kliyente. Okay, because you are personally observing it, no? So under that, yung test shipping, no? So ito sa mga isa sa mga procedures, no? Test shipping and receiving, yung cut-off procedures nila. So let's say kung December 31 yung cut-off procedures, no? So titignan mo lahat ng yung mga pumasok as of that date, no? Okay, so and then account for all inventory tags and count sheet used in recording the physical inventory counts. So yung mga inventory tags, no, na associated doon sa inventaryo na 'yon, no? And yung count sheet used. So dapat ito yung kumbaga ito yung mga source documents, no? Okay, na ano siya, no, in recording the physical inventory counts. Of course, yung physical inventory counts, that is the one that's yung bang dapat nakalagay din dun sa records. And then test the clerical accuracy on inventory listings. Yan. So this is one of the transaction level assertions, no? Okay, accuracy. Trace test counts recorded during the physical inventory observation to the inventory listing. So pag sinabing tracing, so you move forward, no? Trace test counts, no? Recorded during the physical count observation to the inventory listing. So yung mga nandun sa physical inventory, okay? So iti-trace mo 'yon na dapat dun sa observation mo, dapat nakalista sila dun sa inventory listing. So kung ano yung nakita mo dito, okay? So dun sa physical count mo, no, it should be naandun sa listahan sa inventory listing. Reconcile physical counts to perpetual records and general ledger balances and investigate significant variations. So ito yung mga sa physical count, no? So when you make a physical count using perpetual, pag sinabing perpetual, ito yung bang every now and then ina-update mo. Okay? Ina-update yung mga records, no? So pagka may lumabas or na may ibinenta, so nakabawas yun dun sa inventory. Tapos pagka may pinurchase, so nakadagdag siya. Okay, and then yun, so ito yung base dun sa physical count, no? And i-reconcile yun dun sa yung physical count na yon to perpetual records kung tama ba yung bang paglabas at pagpasok, no, ng goods. And general ledger balances. Itong general ledger, ito yung nandun sa account mismo, no? Okay, yung general ledger, yung sa inventory, and investigate kung meron mang mga differences yan, okay, dun sa physical count saka dun sa perpetual records, no, and general ledger. Then ano ba yung niya? Ano yung pinaka yung mga findings niya, no? So you have to investigate 'yon, no? Okay, and then test inventory transactions between a preliminary physical inventory and the end of the reporting period. So yan, so test yung mga transactions between a preliminary physical inventory date and at the end of the reporting period. So yeah, reporting period, assuming it's December 31, no? Okay, which is end of the year. So ito yung gumagawa ka ng financial statements, no, relating to that period. Okay, so now the next audit procedure is obtain confirmation of inventories at locations outside the entity. So, gaya na sinabi natin kanina, ang inventory hindi lang naman dapat nasa ano yan, nandun lang sa company premises o kung dun lang sa pag-aari ng kumpanya or dun na nga sinabi ko na nga premises no ng ano. Now, pwede rin na yan, pwede rin nasa iba yan, nasa ibang lugar yan, no? Katulad before I work in a logistics company wherein we are the service provider of some of these big companies. No, one of them is Jollibee na na nagpapalagay ng inventory. Of course, hindi mga hamburger yun, no? Kasi ubus kagad yun. Yung mga novelty items nila, yung mga Jollibee na those yung bang mga stuffed toys, no? Okay, especially pag may promo yung Jollibee. So we're the ones who service them, no, yung logistics needs nila, no. Okay, so naandun yung nila inventory nila yon, no. As well as iba pang mga companies, no. Okay, so nasa labas yung kanilang inventories, no. So that is not our inventory. Kami lang yung custodian doon, no. Kami lang yung naghahawak doon, no. Okay, pero sa kanila 'yon, sa kanilang inventory na 'yon, no? So kailangan nakaano 'yan, no? Kumbaga between the logistics company and the owner of that inventory, kailangan laging reconciled 'yan, no? As much as possible. Konting-konti lang ang variance, no? Review perpetual inventory records, production records, and purchasing records for indication of current activities. Ayan. So, kagaya na sinabi natin kanina, pag sinabing perpetual inventory records, ito yung naandito yung naka-update yung pagpasok ng inventory at ang paglabas, no? Okay, pag purchase, nakasulat kagad diyan, paglabas, no? So, siya perpetual, no? Okay, so i-review yun, and then yung production records, no, and purchasing records for indication of current activities, kung yung mga nangyari yung particular na period ng current activity, no. Analytically review the relationship of inventory balances to recent purchasing, production, and sales activities, and to anticipated sales volume. Yan. So yung mga analytical. So this is more of like a substantive test, no, ng auditor, no. So review the relationship of inventory balances, ano yung mga balances doon, no? Yung mga to recent purchase, yung mga binili, so kailangan nakalista yon, production, no? Tapos ano na yung pumasok doon sa production, kasi halimbawa sa isang factory, of course, raw materials yan, tapos papasok na yan sa production, so in process yan, and then yon, so magiging finished goods yan, and then yung sales activity, no. Okay, and then yung anticipated sales volume. So ano yung nila, yung bang projection nila doon sa inventory na yan. And then examine paid vendors, invoices, consignment agreements, and contracts. So especially yung assertion ng management na dapat kumbaga it should represent and disclosure assertion, no, yung andun yun, no. Okay, and then review direct labor rates. Yan, kasi in inventory, ang inventory kasi na rin yan, especially yung finished goods, no, hindi magiging finished goods yan pagka walang gagawa, pagka walang labor. Of course, this is an assertion dun sa accuracy ng inventory. Halimbawa, itong finished goods na to, let's say 10 piso yan. Then sa 10 piso na yan, may kasama doon na yung raw materials doon, halimbawa 5 piso. Yung direct labor doon, halimbawa sabihin mo 3 piso, tapos yung doon 3 piso per unit, tapos yung 2 pesos doon, let's say factory overhead, no. So kinakailangan yung accuracy nung yung direct labor na yon, no. Okay, because this may kumbaga distort or alter yung pricing ng product, no, o yung cost ng product. And test the computation of standard overhead rates, no. So like we said a while ago, kasama yan, especially in a manufacturing company, no, wherein ang isang inventory is not only composed of yung direct materials. Of course, kasama dyan yung direct labor and and yung factory overhead, which of course a big part of that yung sa mga standard overhead rates. And then examine analysis of purchasing and manufacturing standard cost variances. Yan. So next is examine inventory turnover analysis. So ano ba yung like we said a while ago, when we talk about inventory, you're talking also about yung operating cycle ng company. And when you say operating cycle of the company, you're talking about yung from the syempre cash, tapos bibili ng inventory, and then from inventory then ibebenta na yan, and then after selling it, no, then magiging magiging accounts receivable na yan, tapos back again to cash. So ganoon din yung turnover ng inventory, kasi pagka magmula doon sa pagbili mo hanggang sa pagbenta, hanggang sa maibili mo ulit ng inventory. So ilang beses 'yon, no? Ilang beses yung ikot na 'yan, no? Okay, of course nagdidepende yan sa sales, no? Okay, and then review inventory experience and trends. Yan. So especially ngayong pandemic, no? Ngayong pandemic kasi meron lang mga items of goods na kumbaga yung tinatawag na essential goods lang, no? So meron mga inventory diyan na maaaring hindi siya yung kumbaga slow moving siya, unlike yung mga, of course, yung mga essential goods ngayon, no? Okay, so ito yung mga makikita natin yung mga trends dito, no? Okay, of course, in a company, let's say seasonal yung kanilang inventory, titignan din yung experience. So one of those things na para maintindihan mo yung bang ikot ng inventaryo, no? Para kasi at the end of the day, gusto mo makita yung mo doon, yung bang inventory mo yon, na ito talaga sa inyo ito, doon talaga sa company yon. Okay? So nandoon yung assertion ng completeness, accuracy, okay, yung cut-off nandoon. Okay, so tour the plant, this is another procedure, no? Tour the plant, inquire of production and sales personnel concerning possible excess or obsolete inventory items. No, kasi iba yung pag nakikita ng auditor mismo, no? Okay, so usap-usap sila ng mga nandoon yung mga production people doon. Oh, kumusta ba? Oh, magkano, ilan ba yung lumabas? Oh, hindi kasi ito lang yung lumabas, no? To, bakit dito sa records? So, yun, nagkakaroon na ng yun, no? Overpricing, ha? Oh. So, and sales personnel concerning possible excess or obsolete inventory. Oh, bakit ang tagal na yan, no? Baka naman baka may new technology na, no? Nandiyan pa yan, no? Ano nangyayari diyan? Ang taas ng inventory niyo, yung pala hindi na pala nabebenta yung iba doon sa mga produkto nila kasi obsolete na. So dapat nira-write off na yon. Okay, and then next is yung examine sales after year-end and open purchase order commitments. Ayan. So examine sales, no? Pagkatapos ng year-end, no? And open yung mga purchase orders. So ano ba yung mga commitments na yan, no? Okay, so kasi dito natin makikita yung sa cut-off, no? So completeness assertion. So pumasok ba yung dapat na pumasok dito sa taon na to? At yung mga hindi dapat pumasok napunta na sa iba, no? So titingnan natin dito yung completeness assertion. And then next is yung obtain confirmation of inventories pledge under loan agreement. So dito tinitingnan natin yung rights and obligations. So baka mamaya naka-pledge yan yung inventory na yan, no? So meron sa loan agreement. So dapat naka-disclose siya. Okay, and then review drafts of financial statements yan. So review drafts, no? Tingnan natin yung mga drafts na yon, yung mga nandoon sa financial statement, no? Sabihin, no? Yung mga achuchuchu, no? Yung mga gano'n, no? Okay, so ito yung mga drafts dun sa ano ba yung mga nandoon, no? Okay, ano ba yung relating to inventory? Okay, and then compare disclosures made in the financial statement to the requirements of PFRS. Yan. So kasi ang PFRS, meron din panuntunan yan, especially sa valuation ng inventory, no? Okay, let's say for example, kung na-write down ng inventory because of obsolescence, no? So these are some of the things na yung bang impaired na, no? So maaaring it should be recorded, no? Okay, dun sa dun sa recoverable value, no? So those things, no? So under some standard, no? Okay, so these are what you see here, yung sa audit assertions, no? Okay, so these are just some of the audit assertions, transaction level, no? Okay, ito yung gusto natin patunayan. Completeness, is it accurate, no? Classification, occurrence, no? Nangyari ba talaga yan, no? Okay, and then cut off, nandun ba yan, no? Nandun ba yan sa, kumbaga, dun sa tamang period niya. Let's say kung December 31, pasok ba yan? O baka mamaya, no? Nailabas na, tapos ano pala, FOB destination pala, nakarating dun sa kliyente o dun sa customer mga January 3 na, no? Pero nailabas na dun sa ano, wala na dun sa record na yon. So of course, ibabalik mo ulit 'yon, no? As part of your inventory nung December 31 kasi yun yung cut-off. And then of course yung account balance assertions, ito yung rights and obligations. So sino ba yung may right, legal right doon, no? Doon sa title of the inventory? Existence, no? Nangyari ba talaga ito, no? Completeness, no? So pa yan sa one of the account balance assertions, no? So mabalanse, no? Kompleto. And yung valuation niya. Okay? So kasi sa account balance yan, no? So tama ba yung naka-value doon, no? Baka mamaya obsolete na yung ibang inventory doon, no? Overstated na yun, no? Pwedeng ma-mislead yung mga readers, no? And then yung represent and disclosure assertions. So when you talk about represent and disclosure assertions, kailangan nakasulat yan, no? Nakahayag yan, no? Kasi hindi naman yung lahat ng mga babasa doon, mga accountants. So dapat, pati yung mga ordinaryong tao. Especially ngayon, no? So, yeah. Paano yung ano na yan, yung tungkol dyan sa COA na yan, yung about yung sa overpricing na yan. No? But the COA said that it was inventory management, no? Okay, so dapat in those, dapat it should be also explained rin dun sa reader na yan, no? Okay, accuracy, occurrence, completeness, understandability, and rights of an obligation. Now, without much ado, we can now nakita natin dito, no? Mga kaibigan, yung Almond Company, so palakihan natin. Yan, palakihan natin. Dikit-dikit siya, no? Para siyang nobela. Yan. Correcting inventory items. So this is the example case. So Almond Company asks you to review its December 31, 2020 inventory values and prepare the necessary adjustments to the books. Okay. The following information is given to you. So, para kang auditor. Ikaw yung auditor dito. Number 1, para tayong investigador. Isa kang investigador dito. Okay, number 1. Kunyari DOH. Okay, anyway. Almond uses the periodic method of recording inventory. Okay? So, pag sinabing periodic, this is different from perpetual kasi ito every period lang ina-account yung inventory nila, no? So hindi siya ganun ka-updated, every period lang. A physical count reveals 704,670 of inventory at December 31, 2020. Incidentally, bago natin ituloy ito, no? Tignan muna natin yung requirements dito. So requirements is compute the correct inventory balance for Almond Company. Yan. On December 31, 2020. So kailangan makita natin yung bang valuation, no? Tama yung naka-value doon. And of course, yung bang cut-off procedures, no? We're going to apply that, no? Na dapat mag-re-reflect yung dapat na naandun sa inventory natin. And letter B, kung meron mang mga adjusting entries, prepare any correcting entries to adjust inventory and related accounts to their prior amounts at December 31, 2020. So assume the books have been closed. So ayan, so ito yung mga so gagawin muna natin itong letter A, no? Yung sa inventory balance, so correct inventory balance. Kailangan na makita natin dito, no? Always think na dapat itong inventory na to na nandun sa tamang period, no? So yung cut-off, no? Nandun siya, no? And kumbaga yung bang accurate, no? Okay, accuracy. Okay? Of course, dapat nag-occur siya. So ito yung mga yung mga assertion levels, no, na kailangan natin malaman, no. So dito sa pag-account ng inventory. So number 1 is Almond uses the periodic method of recording inventory. So a physical count reveals 704,670 of inventory on hand at December 31, 2020. Sasagutan na natin as we go along, no? Okay, so lalagay na natin dito yung yung bang kasi ito nakita na no? Yung balance ng inventory as of December 31 per count. Okay, yung nabilang mo as the auditor, no? Okay, syempre, yun yung pinaka-persuasive kasi nakita mo mismo eh. Okay, so it revealed that 704,670 of the inventory was on hand. 704,000 value ng inventory ito, no? Okay, so 704,670, which is the value of the inventory on December 31, 2020. So lagay mo rito, no? Okay, so inventory per count is 704,670. So ano yung mga idadagdag natin at ibabawas natin para makuha natin yung correct inventory balance para doon sa company as of December 31, 2020. Pangalawa, not included in the physical count. So ano na natin to, no? So we will highlight pag tapos na. Okay. Not included in the physical count of inventory is 31,261. Yan. Hindi rin siya kasama dun sa physical count. That was purchased on December 15 from Jingay. Yan. So, bumili tayo. So, ibig sabihin nadagdagan yung inventory natin pero hindi siya included in sa physical count. This merchandise was shipped FOB shipping point on December 29 and arrived in January. The invoice arrived on December and was recorded on December 31. So, in other words, itong 31,260, this is the worth of the merchandise we have purchased from Jingay on December 15. Okay? Hindi raw siya kasama. Nakalagay dun sa first statement, not included in the physical count of inventory. No? Okay, now, na-receive lang natin itong itong goods na to noong January na. Arrived in January. Pero, ang terms was FOB shipping point. So pag sinabing ni FOB shipping point, no, the title passes to the buyer upon shipment. Okay? So dun pa lang sa shipment, no? Okay, so therefore sa atin na siya, no? Kahit nakarating siya sa atin noong January. Okay. So ito yung rights and obligations, no? Okay, so this is transaction number 2. Okay, so this is for 31,260. Yan. Okay. And then next was included in the inventory is merchandise sold to Dublin on December 30, 2020, no? FOB destination. So, pansinin mo to, no? FOB destination. So, itong na to, pag sinabing destination, kailangan makaabot muna doon sa natin, doon sa buyer natin bago natin tanggalin doon sa inventaryo natin. Okay? So, inventory, included in the inventory, kasama pa raw siya sa inventory natin, was a, a merchandise sold to Dublin so December 30 FOB shipping point. So, this invoice arrived. Ayan, ito na. Okay. So this merchandise was shipped after it was counted. So, nilabas na, no? Isinip na, matapos bilangin. Okay? So, kasama pa siya dun, no? Okay, nabilang, nandito ka, tapos sinip. Okay. The invoice was prepared and recorded as a sale on account for 38,400 on December 31. The merchandise cost 22,050 and Dublin received it on January 3. Ganito, no? Now, included yung inventory dun sa merchandise. Okay? As of December 30, no? FOB destination. Okay, so ano sabi natin sa FOB destination? Kailangan it should arrive, no? Okay. Take note, it should arrive to the customer by as of on or before December 31, 2020. In order for that inventory, okay, to be excluded. Now, we saw here that the merchandise was received by the seller Dublin, no? Okay? Was received by Dublin. Yan. Only on January 3. Yan. So therefore, it is just but right that the inventory should be included in our possession as the company. Okay, as of the cut-off period December 31, because it is FOB destination and it only reached its destination noong January 3 na. So wala tayong gagawin dyan. So ano lalagay natin dito, no? Okay, so transaction number 3, wala. Blanco. Okay, so let's take up number 4. So it says here, included in the inventory was merchandise received from Doodle on December 31 with an invoice price of 46,890. Merchandise was shipped FOB destination. Okay, so the invoice which has not yet arrived has not been recorded. Ayun. So let's take note of this, no? Okay, first, ano yung ano natin? Ano ba tayo dito sa transaction na to? Are we the seller or are we the buyer? So in this given instance, dito sa first statement, no? Received from Doodle on December 31, no? Okay, so as we see here, no? Okay, so therefore we are the buyer here and Doodle is the seller. Okay? Now we have already included that as of December 31, no? Okay. Now, is it right that we have included that in our inventory as of such date? Well, the second we need to know is whether it is FOB destination or FOB shipment. If it's FOB shipping point, then it is our inventory already, no? Upon shipment, no? Kahit hindi pa nag-arrive sa atin. But if it's FOB destination, it should reach our premises, no? Okay? Before we can include it in our inventory. Now, in this given example, no, the merchandise was shipped on December 31 and it was already included. So therefore, it already reaches destination on December 31. So as of that cut-off date, no? Okay, so we recorded already the merchandise, no? However, we have not yet recorded the invoice because it says here dito sa last statement, no? The invoice which has not yet arrived has not been recorded. So we're going to take that up as our adjusting entry. Mamaya, to take up the purchases and the sales, no? Okay? And then number 5, so lagay muna natin dito, no? Okay, so transaction number 4, that should be na tayong kailangan gawin, no? Because we have already included that in our inventory, no? Okay? Now, transaction number 5, it says Not included in the inventory is 25,620 of merchandise was received on December 31 after the inventory had been counted. So the invoice, okay, so the invoice was received and recorded on December 30. Yan. Okay. So again, what is this transaction, no? Okay, so this transaction is we're the purchaser here, no? Tayo yung buyer. Okay? We're the buyer, no? Okay, so we bought it for 25,000. That is the value of the inventory. It says not included, no? But what's received already on December 31. So we have already received as of December 31. So therefore, we should include that, no? So after the inventory had been counted. Okay, so the invoice was received and recorded on December 30. Okay, so take note of this, no? There's a difference between yung sa invoice and then which is to recognize the payable, and yung sa inventory, which is we have already received that and included in our inventory. Okay, so this is the value of the transaction. That's 25,000. Okay, so we should include that because it says it was not included. So for 25,620. Let's take up number 6. Now it says here, included in the inventory was 31,314 of inventory held by Almond on consignment from Jake Corporation. So this is the case where Almond is the consignee. Okay, and then si Jake yung may-ari nung goods. Okay, so we're just the custodian of such goods. Okay, therefore it is not our inventory. Okay, so we're going to take that out of our inventory because Jake is the rightful owner. And so lalagay natin dito. And number 6 is 31,314. So the parenthesis signifies as deduction from our inventory. Okay, now let's take up number 7. Okay, included in inventory is merchandise to OJ company. Sold to OJ, so we're our the seller, no? FOB shipping point. So this merchandise was shipped after it was counted. Okay, so binilang muna. So kasama dun sa bilang, and then shinip na siya. So hindi siya natanggal dun sa inventory. The invoice was prepared and recorded as a sale for 56,700. So doon sa sales transaction, it was a debit to accounts receivable and credit to sale for 56,700. So no need to adjust for that, no? The only thing that we need to adjust was the 34,000, the cost of the merchandise that was sold to OJ for 34,560. We're going to take that out in our inventory, no? Okay, so because it was included in our inventory, but it was already sold FOB shipping point to OJ. So therefore, title passes to the buyer already as of that date. Okay, so this is number 7. So this would be less 34,560. Okay, and then still have one more. Number 8, excluded from inventory was a carton labeled "Please accept for credit." This carton contains merchandise costing 4,500. Okay, which has been sold to a customer for 7,800. No entry has been made to the books to reflect the return, but none of the returned merchandise. And so, in other words, okay, so this type of transaction, okay, so but none of the returned merchandise seem damaged. So, in other words, this type of transaction is a sales return, no? Okay. So, this normally happens when a good is damaged. Yung binenta, isinusoli ng customer. So, therefore, itatanggalin natin siya. We will subtract that from our sales by means of sales returns and allowances, which we will have our yung ano natin mamaya, no, yung ating entry, no, adjusting entry for that, no. We have an adjusting entry for that, no. And credit for accounts receivable. This is for deduction for receivables, no. Okay, now as far as inventory is concerned, no. Okay, so if it's a damaged good, well, we will value that, no, on its yung bang ano, yung on that impaired asset, no. Okay, we will recognize yung ano yung impairment loss on that inventory, no. However, it was said here that there was no the return merchandise, none of the returned merchandise seemed damaged, no. So it is still good as new, in other words, no. Okay, so we will simply add this back, this 7,800. Oh, sorry, that is the selling price pala. The cost, yeah. So the merchandise costing 4,500 to the company's inventory. So we're going to add this. Number 8, add 4,500. And for the returned merchandise. Okay? So I guess we don't have any more adjusting data. So we can compute for the correct correct inventory. Okay, so 704,670. So this is the inventory per count. This is still unadjusted. After taking into account the transactions 2 to 8, we now have a corrected balance of 700,176. Yan. Okay, so that is the corrected balance. Now let's take up the adjusting journal entries. So we only have about 3 adjusting journal entries as of December 31. Okay, so transaction number 3. Okay, because we need to, it says here in transaction number 3, again, going back here again, included in inventory is merchandise sold to Dublin on December 30, FOB ship destination. So this merchandise was shipped after it was counted. Okay. So, but it was included in our inventory. Okay, so that is just correct, no? That's why we didn't do anything with that, no? Okay, because it's FOB destination. Okay, now the invoice was prepared and recorded as a sale on account for 38,400 on December 31. So we have already recorded the sale for that as of December 31. But the merchandise has not yet received by Dublin. Okay, and Dublin only received that on January 3. So therefore, the sale on account of 38,400, which we previously debited accounts receivable and credit sales for 38,400, okay, according to this statement, no? Okay. Now, as of that date, as of December 31, that is still not yet a consummated sale because it has not yet received by the buyer. Okay, so therefore there is a adjusting entry on transaction number 3. Okay, so which is a debit to sales for 38,400 and credit to accounts receivable for 38,400. Yan. So, ibinaliktad lang natin, no? Okay, so we take up number 4. This is another transaction. So, number 4, I believe this is what's the transaction with Doodle. So, included in inventory was merchandise received from Doodle. Okay, so we have read this a while ago, no? Okay, so we are the buyer here with an invoice price of 46,890. So the merchandise was shipped FOB destination. Okay, so we have received that on December 31. FOB destination. It has reached its destination on December 31. So it's just right that we have included that. So that's why we didn't do anything on this particular transaction, no. But we have not recorded the invoice because it has not yet arrived. So therefore, we have to account for the purchase. Okay, so debit purchase for 46,890 and credit accounts payable. So we need to also recognize a payable for that same amount. So 46,890. And there, as you can see, 46,000, that's the invoice price. Now that was that was not yet received as of December 31. Now, the last yung ano natin yung ating adjustment is dito naman, no? Okay? So excluded from inventory was carton labeled for yung merchandise return, no? Okay, so we're going to take this up, no, as a sales return and allowances as deduction from the sales for 7,800 and a corresponding deduction or of our receivable for 7,800. Okay, so this is the complete adjusting entries for these transactions. Okay, so if you have any questions, you may write your comments or or ask. No? Okay, so also if you have any topic that you want to us for us to discuss, we can discuss that. No, you just write your comment or subscribe, share, and like. God bless and stay safe.